Hello and a very warm welcome to the English Story Nook. We are so glad you could join us for another story. Today, we're diving into a story about the world of online dating. You will learn about the feelings of hope and frustration that many people experience when looking for a connection through an app, and what happens when a promising new match is challenged by a terrible internet connection. Before we dive in, if you enjoy our stories and want to support what we do, please give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and consider buying us a coffee. There's a link in the description below. Every like, subscription, and small contribution helps us keep creating great content for English learners like you. And now to the story. He matched me, then his signal dissolved. Rotapara stared at her phone, her thumb hovering over the dating app icon. After a month of disastrous dates, she felt completely disillusioned. There was the man who talked only about his ex-girlfriend, the one who checked his stock portfolio every 5 minutes, and the one who thought a fun fact was explaining the entire plot of a movie she had already seen. She sighed. Maybe it was time to delete the app and buy a cat. But just as she was about to give up, a new profile caught her eye. Brijesh Kumar Yusuf, an architect with a warm smile, and photos of him hiking in the mountains. His bio was simple and funny. Against her better judgment, Rut swiped right. A moment later, her phone buzzed. "It's a match!" The notification filled her with a familiar, hopeful feeling of anticipation. They started chatting, and the conversation flowed more easily than any she'd had in months. They discovered a shared love for old black and white movies and a passion for trying the spiciest food they could find. Brijesh was witty and seemed genuinely interested in her life as a graphic designer at Eldalamba Solutions, a creative agency. He told her about his work, designing sustainable buildings. After a few days of non-stop messaging, he suggested a video call. "I want to see if your smile is as nice in real life," he wrote, adding a winking emoji. Rut felt a flutter of excitement. This felt different. This felt like it could be real. The evening of the call, Rut set up her laptop, checked her hair, and took a deep breath. As soon as she answered, however, the screen froze. Brijesh's face was a mosaic of colorful pixels. "Hello?" she said, her voice echoing back at her. "Can you hear me?" His voice came through in short, broken pieces. "Hear you. Terrible connection." It was a classic technical glitch. For a moment, she felt a wave of frustration. Was this a sign? But then, his face cleared for a second, and he was laughing. "Well," he typed in the chat, "at least we know we can handle a crisis." The glitch in their connection somehow made the conversation more memorable. They typed more than they talked, using emojis and GIFs to fill the silent gaps. It was chaotic, but it was fun. By the end of the call, they had decided to meet in person. The idea of finally meeting felt like a moment of pure serendipity. They chose a small Italian restaurant halfway between their apartments. The week leading up to the date was filled with a nervous energy. Rut found herself daydreaming about their conversation, smiling at his witty texts. The feeling of anticipation was almost overwhelming. She hadn't felt this way in a long time. She was starting to believe that maybe, just maybe, genuine connections could be made through a screen. On the day of the date, just as Rut was getting ready, her phone buzzed with a message from Brijesh. "I'm so sorry, but I might be a little late. We have an emergency at work." Her heart sank. The initial excitement suddenly felt ephemeral. like a soap bubble about to burst. Was this the beginning of the end? She had been in this situation before, and it usually ended with a cancellation. She felt herself becoming disillusioned all over again. But then another message came through. A major client moved up a deadline, and my boss is panicking. But I promise I will be there. I can't wait to meet you. His honesty was refreshing. He wasn't making excuses. He was explaining the situation. The ephemeral feeling of doubt began to fade, replaced by a renewed sense of hope. When Brijesh finally walked into the restaurant, he was even more handsome than in his pictures. He apologized again for being late, and his sincerity was obvious. The chemistry between them was immediate and undeniable. They talked for hours, laughing and sharing stories. It felt less like a first date and more like catching up with an old friend. The serendipity of their meeting felt almost magical. They had both almost given up on dating apps, and yet, here they were. As the evening was winding down, Brijesh grew quiet for a moment. "There's something I should tell you," he said, his expression serious. "I've been offered a job in Berlin. I haven't decided whether to take it yet." The news hit root like a cold wave. Berlin. That was a world away. The perfect evening suddenly felt fragile, ephemeral. She had finally found someone she connected with, only to find out he might be leaving. It seemed like a cruel joke, another glitch in her search for love. Rut took a deep breath. She could feel the old, familiar feeling of being disillusioned creeping back in. But then she looked at Brijesh, at his honest and slightly worried face. She remembered how tired she was of giving up. "Thank you for telling me," she said, her voice steady. "I don't know what will happen, but I know that I haven't felt a connection like this in a very long time." Brijesh smiled, a look of relief washing over his face. "Me neither," he admitted. "To be honest, the job is a great opportunity, but the thought of leaving now, it feels wrong. It feels like a moment of serendipity that I can't ignore." They decided not to let the uncertainty of the future ruin the present. They agreed to see where things went, to enjoy the connection they had found. As they left the restaurant, Brijesh took her hand. The feeling of anticipation for their next date was already bubbling up inside her. For the first time in a long time, Rut felt hopeful. Maybe technology wasn't just a source of frustration. Maybe it was a tool that, despite its flaws, could lead to something wonderful. That's the end of our story for today. It really makes you think about the challenges and surprises of making connections in our modern world. Have you ever felt hopeful about a new connection, only to face an unexpected challenge? We would love to hear about your experiences in the comments, and remember to check the description for some extra learning materials to help you practice the new words from this story. Thank you for joining us at the English Story Nook. We hope you feel inspired and a little more confident in your English skills today. Keep practicing, stay curious, and we can't wait to see you in our next video. Happy learning!